Hello from Kingfisher, Oklahoma. Today we're going to look at Numbers 23 and 24, and I'm going to talk about 5 different things. Now, if you recall, we've been looking at the story of Israel, and we've been introduced to 2 characters, Balaam and Balak. Balak is the king of Moab, and he's called the prophet Balaam to come and curse Israel, knowing that if Balaam curses them, the nation will be cursed, perhaps they'll fall apart. Balak can come in and conquer them, but he knows that if Balaam blesses this nation, it's going to be a problem. This nation will indeed be blessed. And we found out last time, Balaam is only going to look at God for the words. That's what he promised. Now, he had some difficulties along the way, but he's super motivated now by the fact that he's just had a brush with an angel that was about to kill him, and his donkey was talking to him. So it's just going to be a time that Balaam is going to do the right thing. Now, he may choose to go against that later. We'll see. But for now, in this story, Balaam is going to say the words of God. So number 2, he gets himself ready, he makes sacrifice to God, and he blesses the Israelites. And this dismays Balak. But Balaam says, I can only do what God tells me. So, number 3, then after that, Balaam goes, that was the first time, he's going to go a second and third time to try to get Balaam to curse him. During one of the middle of his prophecies, though, number 3, this is a side note, in the King James, it translates a word unicorn. Now, of course, we go, what in the world is happening here? Now, this word appears 9 times in the Old Testament, that it's translated unicorn in the King James. Some sources suggest that this actually comes from the Greek translation of the Old Testament called the Septuagint. And the translation there, the word that is used means one horn. So it could be a unicorn. It could be a rhino. Well, Adam, how could it be a unicorn? We don't know what animals were around. We're not very good as people at keeping track. And why do we have a unicorn in all these places anyway? Who knows? Don't know for sure. And it doesn't really matter whether, as the NASB chooses to translate, wild ox, or if it's truly like a rhinoceros. The image is the same, that God is strong in this passage. So anyway, you're going to hear that unicorn and don't leave. It's, anyway. 4, Balak is not ready to give up. So after the first time, he chooses a second time and a third time. But all 3 times, Balaam blesses Israel instead of a curse. And this just makes Balak super upset. He says, I was going to pay you, I was going to promote you, but I'm not going to do any of those now because you didn't do what I asked. And Balaam just says, I had to do what God tells me to do. And number 5, Balaam at the very end of chapter 24 begins to prophesy about a throne coming to Israel and a scepter. And this is way in. God is not promising that Israel is going to suddenly set up a king. But here Balaam is prophesying something that will come true. And that's pretty amazing that God is using this foreign prophet to say exactly what's going to happen. And he also prophesies the downfall of Moab, of other nations as well. So pretty incredible. And God decreed it through the mouth of the prophet. And so it will come to pass. And it does. So let's check it out. Chapter 23. And Balaam said unto Balak, build me here 7 altars, and prepare me here 7 oxen, and 7 rams. And Balak did as Balaam had spoken. And Balak and Balaam offered on every altar a bullock and a ram. And Balaam said unto Balak, stand by the burnt offering, and I will go. Peradventure the Lord will come meet me, and whatsoever he showeth me, I will tell thee. And he went to a high place. And God met Balaam, and he said unto him, I've prepared 7 altars. I've offered upon every altar a bullock and a ram. And the Lord put a word in Balaam's mouth, and said, return unto Balak, and thus thou shalt speak. And he returned unto him, and lo, he said, he stood by his burnt sacrifices, and all the princes of Moab, everybody important, is there. And he took up this parable and said, Balak, the king of Moab, hath brought me from Aram, out of the mountains of the east, saying, Come, curse me Jacob, and come, defy Israel. How shall I curse whom God hath not cursed? Or how shall I defy whom the Lord has not defied? And for from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills I behold him, and lo, the people shall dwell alone, and shall not be reckoned among the nations. Who can count the dust of Jacob, and number the fourth part of Israel? Let me die a death of the righteous, and let my last end be like this. And Balak said unto Balaam, What hast thou done to me? I took thee to curse mine enemies, and behold, thou hast blessed them altogether. And he answered and said, Must I not heed to speak that which the Lord has put in my mouth? Hey, we should all take that note, by the way. And Balak said unto him, Come, I pray thee, with me another place, from whence thou mayest see them. Thou shalt see the uttermost part of them, and thou shalt not see them all, and curse them from thence. And he brought him into the field of Zophim at the top of Pisgah, and built 7 altars, and offered a bullock and a ram on every altar. And he said unto Balak, Stand here by the burnt offering, while I meet the Lord yonder. And the Lord met Balaam, and put a word in his mouth, and said, Go again to Balak, and say thus. And when he came to him, behold, he stood by the burnt offering, and the princes of Moab with him. So they're going to try this again. And Balak said unto him, What hath the Lord spoken? And he took up the parable and said, Rise up, Balak, and hear. Hearken unto me, thou son of Zippor. God is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. Hath he said, and shall he not do it? Or hath he spoken, and shall he not make it good? Behold, I have received commandment to bless, and he hath blessed, and I cannot reverse it. He hath not beheld iniquity in Jacob, neither hath he seen perverseness in Israel. The Lord his God is with him, and the shout of the king is among them. So the nation's got it going on. Well, we know that it's only the blessing of God that's keeping them here, because they are quite rebellious, let's say. God brought them out of Egypt, and he hath, as it were, the strength of a unicorn. Surely there is no enchantment against Jacob, neither is there any divination against Israel. According to this time it shall be said of Jacob and Israel, What hath God wrought? Behold, the people shall rise up as a great lion, and lift himself as a young lion. He shall not lie down until he eat of prey, and drink the blood of the slain. And Balak said unto Balaam, Neither curse them at all, nor bless them at all. But Balaam said unto Balak, Told I not thee, saying, All that the Lord speaketh, that I must do? And Balak said unto Balaam, Come, I pray thee, I will bring thee to another place. Peradventure it will please God that thou mayest curse me them from thence. And Balak brought Balaam unto the top of Peor, and looketh toward Jeshimon. And Balaam said unto Balak, Build me here 7 altars, and prepare me 7 bullocks and 7 rams. And Balak did as Balaam had said, and offered a bullock and a ram on every altar. And when Balaam saw that it pleased the Lord to bless Israel, he went not as other times to seek for enchantments, but he set his face toward the wilderness. And Balaam lifted up his eyes, and he saw Israel abiding in his tents according to their tribes. And the Spirit of God came upon him. And he took up the parable and said, Balaam, the son of Beor, hath said, that the man whose eyes are open hath said, He hath said, which heard the words of God, which saw the visions of the Almighty, falling into a trance, but having his eyes open. How goodly are the tents of Jacob, and thy tabernacles, O Israel! As the valleys are they spread forth, and as the gardens by the riverside, as the trees of the lignolos which the Lord hath planted, and as the cedar trees beside the water. He shall pour the water out of his buckets, and his seed shall be in many waters. And his king will be higher than Agag, and his kingdom shall be exalted. God brought him forth out of Egypt. He hath, as it were, the strength of a unicorn. He shall eat up the nations, his enemies. He shall break their bones, and pierce them through with his arrows. He couched, he lay down as a lion, as a great lion. Who shall stir him up? Blessed is he that blesseth thee, and cursed is he that curseth thee. And Balak's anger was kindled against Balaam, and he smote his hands together. And Balak and Balaam said, I called thee to curse mine enemies, and behold, thou hast altogether blessed them these 3 times. Therefore flee thou unto thy place. I thought to promote thee unto great honor, but lo, the Lord hath kept thee back from honor. And Balaam said unto Balak, Spake I not to thy messengers, which thou sentest unto me, saying, If Balak would give me his whole house full of silver and gold, I cannot go beyond the commandment of the Lord, to do either good or bad of mine own mind. But what the Lord saith, that will I speak. And now behold, I go to my people. Come, therefore, and I will advertise to thee what this people will do to thy people in the latter days. And he took up this parable and said, Balaam the son of Beor hath said, and the man whose eyes are open hath said, He has said, which heard the words of God, and knew the knowledge of the Most High, which saw the vision of the Almighty, falling into a trance, but having his eyes open. I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nigh. There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel, and shall smite the corners of Moab, and destroy all the children of Sheth. And Edom shall be a possession. Seir shall also be a possession for his enemies. And Israel shall do valiantly. Out of Jacob shall come he that shall hath dominion, and shall destroy him that remaineth of the city. And when he looked on Amalek, he took up the parable and said, Amalek was the first of nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever. And he looked upon the Kenites and took up the parable and said, Strong is thy dwelling place, and thou puttest thy nest in a rock. Nevertheless, the Kenites shall be wasted, until Asher shall carry thee away captive. And he took up the parable and said, Alas, who shall live when God doeth this? And the ships shall come from the coast of Chittim, and shall afflict Asher, and shall afflict Eber, and he shall also perish forever. And Balaam rose up and went and returned to his place, and Balak also went his way. So we find that despite the opposition, these kings that are lined up ready to protect their homes, it doesn't matter. If God is on your side, it will be accomplished as he wishes. You can't stop it. He's the most powerful, the most high God. We just need to follow him. Well, thanks for joining me this time. I'll catch you later.